Hello guys, I'm Kiri, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna talk about Ford Mustang BOSS 302. This car was in production only in 1969 and 1970, alongside with the big brother BOSS 429. It's based on the first generation Ford Mustang, which was presented at 1964, but this is a later version and is completely different look. The BOSS 302 is a special car. It's very rare. For the 2 years in production, Ford made just over 8,000 cars. The car used the fastback body and the GT suspension. Also, the car is special because Ford made this car with amazing handling. They lowered in the front with 11 mm, the back with only 1 mm, and special stiffer bushing were used, as well larger diameter rear stabilizer bar. The engine is the very well-known small block V8 5-liter, very special racing engine actually, is completely different than the standard 5-liter, and using more nickel for the engine casting. And the engine as well is engaged with a 4-speed manual transmission. We can say even this is a homologation car because it was created for the 1969 Trans-American Ford Racing Series. So all the car is a special package, from the engine, actually all the drivetrain, through the suspension, the tires, aerodynamic and the interior, etc, etc. Was one of the very first car with front spoiler and rear boot spoiler, also very cool air scoop on the bonnet, and rear window shade or louvers. Very recognizable part of the car is the decal, the stripes, which start from the hood, going down and horizontally to the back bumper. Because of the shape, the stripe was known as a hockey stick, and if you look from the side, the stripe really looks like a hockey stick. For the 1970 model, they changed the front side of the car. Instead of 4 lights, there are vents outside the headlights, which is very unique. Very interesting is the story why they named the car BOSS. How we said the car was homologation special. The main designer, Larry Shinoda, was working very secretly on this car, but was asked very often what project he was working on. And the answer all the time was the boss's car, the boss's car. So many times the same answer, the boss's car, I'm working on the boss's car, and when the car was ready, everyone said, this is the boss's car. So from there, the boss. We mentioned earlier the big brother BOSS 429, which was with big block V8 7-liter engine, 375 horsepower, and this was homologation car as well, but for the very prestigious, back on the day, even today, NASCAR series. So 7-liter was the restriction of the engine displacement at the time. The interesting fact is that the big BOSS 429 was to become a mid-engine car, but never happened, and only 1,359 were built, and today is very valuable. One of these cars cost more than $500,000 US. But our car here, BOSS 302, we're gonna mention again, this is homologation car for the American, back then, Trans-American series, and is with limited displacements up to 5-liter. That's why the 302 BOSS engine is 5-liter. But because of the special modification, the power was rated at 290 horsepower, and this is 1969. This power came mostly from the heads, which had the valves larger than any other engines. The fuel consumption wasn't very friendly, but the intention of this car was completely different: to go, to race and to win. The performance was amazing for 1970, from 0 to 100 km per hour or 62 miles per hour, just 7 seconds. 400 meters or quarter mile, the time took is 14.6 seconds, and the maximum speed was just 137 miles per hour or 220 approximately kilometers per hour. But this low speed, because of the special gearing number, the car was more track focused, so needed to accelerate and stop quick before the bend, and doesn't need that high maximum speed. The rear final axle ratio was 4.3 to 1. Just for reference, we're gonna mention that the 1970 Ferrari 365 GT, the acceleration from 0 to 100 or 62 miles per hour time was 7.2 seconds against 7 seconds for the BOSS 302. So this is just a reference to see how was Ford Mustang back on the day compared with Ferrari 365, the V12 Ferrari 365 GT. Was very successful car for the purpose was built, entered the competition in 1969 and 1970. The car could win the first year, 1969, was better than the other rivals such as the Chevy Camaro and Pontiac Firebird, but because of the wrong tires, by the way Firestone, and very bad pit stops, the car didn't win. But next year, all these problems were sorted out and the BOSS Mustang 302 won the 1970 Trans-American Championship. The car was racing not only in America, but in Australia as well. Was entrant from 1969 till 1972 in the Australian Touring Car Championship. And from 151 starts, the car won 101 races, so again was very successful car. Today this car is iconic model for Ford and one of the most desirable of all time. It became very popular car and was one of the greatest muscle car back in the day, even now. Was absolutely bulletproof, very reliable, every component worked as it should, and to be more clear, the car works as a Swiss watch. Was time when Ford really was making a great cars. We know the Le Mans winner Ford GT40, the rally legends Ford Escort Mark I and Mark II. We don't need to mention even the most successful Formula 1 engine of all time. So Ford really has one of the biggest sports heritage, together with brands like a Porsche and Ferrari. The 302 cubic inch V8 engine is one of the best of its era. This car came in the time, late 60s, when Ford was very popular in the motorsport, not only in America but all over the world. So the only intention of this car was to win. The Ford boss said, "We win in Le Mans, we win in Formula 1, I want to win this Trans-American Championship." After they won the 1970 Trans-American Championship, Ford decided to cancel the program. Today the car is very collectible. First, because it's a winning car, and second, it's a very rare. Being in production only for 2 years, Ford made only 8,252 cars, were built 1,934 in 1969 for the first generation of this Ford Mustang BOSS 302, and 6,318 cars built in 1970 from the fourth generation with little bit different look. The price when was new was $3,720 American dollars, but this was expensive compared with $2,700 normal Ford Mustang, so it was approximately $1,000 more expensive than standard Ford Mustang. But back then this was absolutely big money. Today the prices often fetched $100,000, and even perfect conditions maybe $150,000 US. The car looks spectacular from every angle. It's a dream for many Mustang enthusiasts, and the package is very, very distinctive. The designer, Larry Shinoda, just took a standard fastback body and transformed into this beast, but on the same time very beautiful. Larry Shinoda had designed as well Mustang Mach 1, Camaro Z28 and Chevrolet Corvette Stingray C2. So here he is not just a regular designer, it's a great name in the American design motor industry. These distinctive aero elements the front spoiler, the boot wing are just part of the greatest design. This particular car in front of us is a blue color, and only the colors available for 1970 year were Greiber blue, the pastel blue, Greiber orange, Greiber green, and Calypso red coral. The cars built in 1969, they are more rare, as we said earlier, just 1,934 were built, and actually they are more valuable and more expensive. But every of them, early cars or later cars, they are just spectacular and dream for many people. So if you have a look just here on the front side of the car, you can see just single headlight, and outside of the headlight there are two louvers. On the early cars there are 4 lights on the front, so the louvers missing. The emblem of this car is in the middle, the early cars is on the left side, so near to the left headlight. This is the differences, and yeah, this is the most visible differences between the early cars and the late cars. But this blue color with these stripes, black stripes, they're just very distinctive. You can see here the emblem, the logo Mustang is on the middle of the grille, so this is a late car. And the spoiler as well, on the back we mentioned the spoiler, so this is one of the first car in the world actually with front spoiler and back spoiler on the boot. So very distinctive car, very cool. You can see here the indicator and the stripes BOSS 302, very distinctive car, absolutely cool from every angle. You can see here behind the louvers actually on top of the rear glass. This is fastback, so they use the chassis from fastback, and the spoiler as well on the boot. And the top side of the boot is painted in black. The lights very distinctive for Ford Mustang on that era, 1970, and you can see on the boot as well Mustang. So Ford was very proud actually with this car, with Ford Mustang back on the day, and especially this model BOSS 302 and the big brother 429, they are absolutely iconic cars, one of the greatest ever Ford Mustangs, not only Mustangs but one of the greatest Fords. So just have a look, the car from the side is absolutely amazing. You can see here the hockey stick shape, the stripe, and the BOSS 302. This car has aftermarket wheels, they are bigger, but the standard, they are 15-inch. Anyway, the car looks very cool, and how we said earlier, the car is lower than the standard Mustang with 11mm on the front, and it looks very sporty. So guys, I hope you liked the video about this very cool and iconic Ford Mustang, 1974 Mustang BOSS 302. If you liked the video, please subscribe my channel, and see you next time guys, bye!